there, baby. Why don't you come in with me? We can sit down and watch some Vsauce videos together, you know. Do you really love me a bit of Vsauce? What's going on, you sexy fuckers? What's going on, you sexy fuckers? And today, we're going to be talking about drugs and why you should do them. Just kidding, drugs are really bad for you. I have a lot of bad experiences with them. I do not inhibit the use of any substances, legal or illegal, in this video. This is for educational purposes only. Anyways, today is going to be a story time simply on the highest I've ever been. Now, what I mean by high is simply marijuana, because I don't really touch any other drugs. I don't want to really ever touch any other drugs. I'm a alcohol and a weed guy, that's it. I think when you go out of that boundary, that's what I've took like nitrous oxide once. I think it's just, I don't want to get into that level of drugs. But I do enjoy me a blunt, and I do enjoy me a drink on the weekend, and I have some funny stories to tell. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. It's going to be a bit chilled and relaxed. No script. The head is nearly done now. Just needs little bits furred here, and then stitching's going to happen. Shaving this is going to be a fucking nightmare because I don't have clippers or anything. But anyways, yeah, let's go on to the highest I've ever been.
Long hits deep down in there. We're so baked right now.
So, it was a cold Saturday night in the deepest, darkest days of November, and I was bored, and it was Saturday, and I had nothing else to do, so I went out like any 17, 16-year-old kid does on a Saturday. They go out with their friends. Now, this story is rather weird because it's not like the main thing of this video is going to be like, I had such a huge bong hit, it was so big, or oh my god, you should have seen the size of the spliff I had. This was more of a, well, we'll get onto it in a bit. Anyways, I'm not going to mention the names of anyone who is involved in this, as I am in the UK and marijuana is still illegal. It's perfectly legal for me to make a video on it because obviously I'm not presenting marijuana or anything like that. But like I said, I still don't advise the use of marijuana or anything like that, especially if you're in the UK, as it's illegal, as you can get done for it. I am a stupid child and that's why I do it. Anyways, so we were at a dealer's house around the area where I live, and we were just chilling out, you know. It was a chill day. I think I'd already had about 3 or 4 bongs up to this point, and nothing bad was particularly happening. It wasn't like I wasn't like absolutely blitzed off my face or anything like that. It was more about this one particular bong hit that I had. Wasn't even a big bong, wasn't even a small bong, just all the wrong things you could, health benefits, all the wrong things that could go wrong with supping a bong happened right here. So I was sat on the couch and I was being a bit cocky, to be honest. Anyways, I was a bit cocky when this bong was passed to me. Now usually I don't have the lung capacity to be able to sup clear a bong, and I started hitting this one bong on the couch, and you know, everything was sound. You know, I'd been like, yeah man, pass that fucking bong over, and I started smoking it, and I got cocky. And that's what I advise no one to ever do when it comes to marijuana. Don't get cocky. Don't think you can take the biggest fucking hit in the world. Don't think you can, you know, smoke that spliff, the size of a spliff that you've never fucking had before. Keep to your limits. Know what's good for you. And that's what I got wrong here. So I went in to clear this bong, and I did clear it, and I felt like the fucking beast of the world afterwards. But then I went to exhale. And you see, this is where the problems began. Because when I went to exhale, I didn't exhale. Now, what I mean by I didn't exhale is that I had taken so much smoke into my mouth to an extent that I'd never had before, that my airways almost just fucking seized up and I couldn't breathe. Now, obviously, when you can't breathe, you instantly go into a fucking panic attack. So to make matters worse, I'm sat there, not being able to fucking breathe or anything, and all of a sudden I'm hyperventilating like that on the fucking couch. Not a nice scene for anyone. Really wasn't a nice feeling, but hey ho, I got fucking absolutely blitzed. Basically, as my friends like to tell the story, I pretty much ate the bong. No smoke came out of my mouth for a good 3 or 4 minutes after that bong was hit. And it was like 3 or 4 minutes after that, I like, till I was proper chill, my airways had opened back up, I was taking big breaths in and out, you know, calming down. And then all of a sudden, it was like just steam and smoke just seeped out of my mouth. You could almost like see just like bits of my lungs falling out of the smoke. The smoke had basically dissipated in my lungs. Like there was pretty much no smoke coming out of my mouth. It was just this grim shit. And then after that happened, I felt a wave of relief. And then it hit me like a motherfucker. Like I was standing up in the middle of this room and I just fucking dropped onto the ground. All movement fucking shut down. I was just seeing like fucking rainbows and stars and shit, and I was absolutely out of it. Now many people, you watch people like Custom Grow 420 who makes videos getting fucking ridiculously chonged. Like, you know, like 1 gram dabs and stuff. And people get this idea that, oh yeah, the higher you get, the better it is. It really fucking isn't. This experience was fucking hell for me. Absolute hell. Like, I was just like, every time I tried to speak, all that came out was just mumbling. On this fucking couch, passed out like a fucking bitch. Like, every single time I regained a bit of consciousness, it was just fucking, my head just felt like it was spinning at 1,000,000 miles per hour. It really wasn't a good feeling, and that's why the message I'm trying to show to people is that if you are going to smoke that spliff, or if you are going to sup that bong, don't go over the top, stick to your limits, because being fucking absolutely out of it, fucking high on weed, is not good. It's not a good feeling, and it never is going to be a good feeling unless you are some kind of like fucking saint who just likes getting that chonged or whatever. It's not, you're not going to enjoy it, and it's a good fucking way to develop fucking anxiety over that thing. I hear stories about people who really like to, smoking weed for 2 or 3 years and they absolutely loved it, and then one day they just had an anxiety attack halfway through being chonged and could never have it again. Getting that chonged is not good for your mental health, trust me. It's not good for your brain, it's not good for your body, none of that. And I really don't recommend sitting there and just binging off it, binge drinking. That's a different subject, because with alcohol, the way it affects your brain, deoxynizes your body, it does seem like the feeling gets better and better and better as it goes up. But for marijuana, there is a peak, in my opinion, there is an absolute peak where that is the ideal high. If you go above that, it's like going below it. It just gets worse. And, no one wants to sit there with a headache on the verge of passing out, because it just feels like you're extremely sleepy. That's what being very high was for me. It just felt like I was fucking completely out of it. It just felt like, like I'd woke up at 2 a.m. in the morning, kind of crap. That's all it felt like to me. Anyways, now that rant is over, we can go back onto the story. So it was about 30 minutes until I guess maybe the feelings started to wear off, because for 30 minutes straight I was just murmuring, couldn't say a fucking word, was just sat there like a fucking sloth on the couch. And then, according to my friends, because I have no recollection of saying this, but apparently this is what I said, I just like fucking opened my mouth and said, "My mother is a strong woman," and then passed back out again for another 20 minutes. So nights have to come to an end, and I had a fucking 1 hour walk to get home. and I was obviously not feeling too up for it, so I was just like, oh my god, it was like fucking no money on it, because the money that I had brought was obviously spent on the weed, and all of a sudden it came over me like, it's raining outside, it's like 10 p.m, it's dark as fuck, I have to walk home here, and I don't think I'm in the greatest mood to be walking home. So obviously, as anyone does, I tried to milk absolutely everyone in the room for a lift home, tried to milk anyone to try and get me a lift home, and then finally came to the conclusion that I would walk back to a certain spot. I'm not going to name the spot or anything, so obviously that's just name and fucking where places near my house are. But we walked about 30 minutes of the way back to my house, and then I got a lift from his mum back home. We used the excuse that I was ill. So yeah, that's basically where the story ends. I know it's not like a fucking particularly interesting story or anything, but I more or less wanted to make this video to make it to spread awareness that, you know, because I see so many people who think that getting extremely high is really cool. I don't want anyone to watch like a custom grow 420 video, and that I think he's a particularly bad YouTuber, because I do love custom grow 420. He's one of my closest brothers. But just don't think that getting extremely high is fun, because it really fucking isn't. You know, and as I've said many times, develop your tolerance and understand your limit. That's all you need to do. When you feel that you are nicely high, don't ever go above that. You know, I know it's hard to do that, because you think, well, if I'm nicely high here, if I had one more, wouldn't I feel nicer? No, you wouldn't, because then you get too high, and all of a sudden you're just sat there with a headache like me on that day, not being able to speak, just being completely out of it. And no one wants that to happen. No one wants anyone to get that high. It's just not a good fucking thing to be doing. You know, it's not good for your health. You know, it's just really not good for you. Anyways, guys, that was a little story and a little kind of drug awareness kind of thing mixed in as well. I hope you enjoy this format of video, as it's going to become much more frequent. The next video planned is going to be probably more related to furries than anything. But hey ho, it's been fucking Gromit, and I'll see you later. That fucking just didn't hit the camera in the way that I wanted to at all. I'm sad.